Buen Camino! So today I want to talk to you about apps. So I'm just going to walk you through Camino Ninja because that's the one that we used. And I think there are 4 different reasons why I really liked having the app.
Buen Camino. Today we walked from Sarria to Portomarín. It was a 22.4 kilometer hike. It took us 29,600 steps and 6 hours and 10 minutes to walk it. It's a really nice hike. It's mostly easy. There's a few uphills at the beginning. Aroma of cows most of the way, but that was okay. Up until now, there have been not a lot of hikers because the real action begins at Sarria. And that's because Sarria is the closest city in which you could get your 100 kilometers of hiking in so that you can receive your Compostela or other certification for hiking into Santiago. Boy, do a lot of people like to start here. There were apparently busloads of people come in, and you could see the difference. The town was set up for lots of albergues and places for people to stay. In the morning when we left, there were lots of people out getting ready to start their journey, which is really exciting to see other people beginning a journey that you've been on for so long, and you know how exciting it is and how fulfilling it is. So that part was great. The age drops considerably. A lot of younger people probably can't get the time off to do, we've been doing this for 5 weeks now, get that much time off. So it's people who are taking a week to hike. There are people with children. You see people with cleaner clothes than we have. People are stopping for more photos. There's bigger groups. Really up till now, it's mostly been individuals and duos. And sometimes those groups meet up, and so there might be a larger group walking along, but it's mostly individuals and duos. At this point, you see lots of groups, 3 to 20 people all walking together. And it's a real different vibe when you have that many people who are energetically enjoying each other's company. Also, the pace is a bit slower. We were walking our normal pace today, and we were passing lots of people. Generally, everyone is passing us at our normal pace, so the pace does seem to slow down a bit. The hike itself surprised me. I thought there would be a lot more infrastructure for pilgrims along the way, and it didn't seem like that. It seemed like there were a lot of the towns that you pass through didn't really have any facilities at all. I didn't see any fountains except for a few of those free-flowing ones with lots of moss in it that I didn't quite trust. So if you need water along the way, make sure you fill up at a cafe if they'll let you. There's 2 splits along the way that I'd like to talk to you about. First split happens right out of Sarria. You cross the old stone bridge, and right away there's one path that goes forward, which is the main path, and then one that kind of goes off to the right. I don't know what that direction does. It just seemed out of the way when the main trail went fairly directly. So maybe in the future we'll try that out, but it wasn't for us today. The other split is right before you get into Portomarín. The last kilometer, you'll be on top of the hill. You'll see the town below you, and there'll be a road that goes to the right and one that goes to the left. They both are basically the same length and probably basically do the same thing. So it probably doesn't matter which one you take. Most people seem to be going to the one to the right, which I think is 0.1 kilometers shorter. If that matters to you, go to the right. Now, we stayed in Albergue Aqua. It is $54 for a private room with a shared bath. It's a really cute place. It is one of those places where it's an electronic check-in, so they send you the information of a keypad so that you can check yourself in. And it's really convenient, and we enjoy that a lot. A person did come to the albergue later and sent us a message saying to come down to check our passports, but that was easy, not a problem at all. For food today, we had groceries for breakfast. We stop in Morgadi for $8 sandwiches. That was $4 sandwiches, one each. And then for dinner, we stopped at a grocery store and we bought some microwavable lasagna. And don't judge us, but it was actually not too terrible. The town itself of Portomarín is kind of different than any town we've seen so far. They do have the black slate roofs, which we've seen ever since we entered this region, but they're all painted white, which is very different. The town itself is a series of long streets that cross each other. It's really cute. There's lots and lots of restaurants. They really have a lot of services for the pilgrims at this point. And there is one really cool church in town that's kind of a square shape, and we'll show a picture of what that looks like. It was a great day, and we'd like to give a shout out to Michelle from Switzerland and Ariana from France. They are friends who have come back to hike a section of the Camino every year for 10 years. And this year, they are finally hiking. They've never done it before. They are finally hiking into Santiago, which is super exciting. 10 years of walking and finally making it. That's a big accomplishment, and I'm really excited for them. Good luck.
Buen Camino. So today I want to talk to you about apps. Now there are quite a few different apps that you might want to download before you start your Camino. They do some really nice essential functions which could just make some of your way easier. So I do recommend them. Before we started, I was getting recommendations from different people about which apps were going to be the best ones. And I think I downloaded like 5 or 6 different ones onto my phone. And kind of my thinking was as I get out there and start using them, I'll, be able to compare them and see which one I like the best. Now, in reality, that's not how it worked. Somewhere in the first few days, I think I opened Camino Ninja, and then I just never used any of the other apps. Camino Ninja had all the things that I wanted, and once I learned how to use it, there was a point where I opened one of the other ones just to see what it would be like. And of course, it works differently, and it wasn't just immediately obvious how to work it. And I gave up after about 4 seconds and was like, why do I need to even bother with this when I've got one that works just fine? So don't worry so much about which app you decide to use. You're going to find one, it's going to work, and you're not probably going to have a big problem with it. So I'm just going to walk you through Camino Ninja because that's the one that we used. And I think there are 4 different reasons why I really liked having the app. Now, the first one is basic. It's just to help you find the route. Now, 99% of the time, finding the route is very easy. The way is very well marked. There are yellow arrows everywhere. You just follow those and it's not going to be an issue. But every once in a while, you'll get to some junction and you're just not quite sure which way you're supposed to go. Or sometimes what we found is in the bigger cities, we'd rent a hotel that maybe was a couple blocks out of the way. And rather than, in the next morning wanting to backtrack to where we left the way, we could just use the app and figure out how to get to it, going the direction we wanted to go. This is especially important because like Google Maps will help you get through the city, but it does not list where the way goes. Sometimes we would use Google Maps to help us find our hotels, but then we would need the app to help us get back to the way in the morning. So just a couple of times where that might be really useful. Also, there was at least one time when we got to, when we came into Burgos, and we knew there was an alternate way to get along the river instead of going in along the industrial route, which everybody complains about. But when we got to where we were pretty sure the turnoff was supposed to be, it was very poorly marked. And so if we had not had the app to be able to follow step by step to kind of weave our way through, it was pretty easy when you know what you're doing. But if we had not had the app there, I think we would have not been brave enough to try it. And we probably would have just stayed on the route that was marked and had to take that industrial route into Burgos, which we wouldn't have liked as much. So we were very glad we had the app then. Now, a couple of other things that it's really good for is helping you decide where you're going to stay every night. For Camino Ninja, you're able to plug in your starting point, which is going to change as you go along every day. And then it'll have every town, or most of them anyway, that you're going to walk through along the way and how far away they are. Now, this is important because for us, we didn't have a guidebook. We weren't trying to follow some specific stages along the way. We just knew we liked to walk, 20, 22, 24 kilometers every day. That was kind of the sweet spot for us. And so we would just look on the app and figure out, okay, where can we go that's, roughly that distance. That's where we want to head for the night. And then once you decide where you're going to go, you can click on that link and it'll tell you. And it'll tell you for every town in between as well, like where is there going to be cafes? Where is there going to be accommodation? Now, the accommodation is really nice because for us, we found we really liked private rooms, and we would probably around 10 or 11 in the morning, we would just book ahead for that night. So we knew exactly where we were going. That just worked for us. And we could get right into Camino Ninja. We'd look at where we were going. It would have a list of places that had beds. And some of them are available to book on booking.com. Now, not all of them are. Some of them aren't on this website. You just have to go in person or give them a call. But we would usually find one. Always, not even usually. We would always find one that was on booking.com. We'd click the link. It would take us right to the page and we could book it. It took, 2 minutes to do. It was very easy, and we definitely took advantage of that. If you want to walk into towns, that's totally up to you as well. You can just see the list of all the places. And a lot of the, municipal albergues aren't available to book ahead anyway. You have to get there. But this way you look in the app, you can see there's 2 places or 10 places or whatever it is. And it'll give you an idea of how crowded that town is going to be and how many options that you're going to have. Now, the last thing that I really liked about using the app, and this is something I discovered embarrassingly late in our process here, is there's also an elevation map. I wish I had known about the elevation map when we were doing that terrible downhill into Molina Seca and Ponferrada. That day totally caught us by surprise. We weren't prepared for it, and I think that just made it so much harder for us. But after that, I realized, there's a button here that says elevation map, and I clicked on it, and there's a visual representation, so you kind of can look and see I'm hiking from here to here. It looks like there's a really steep hill, either going up or down, or maybe it's going to be really flat, and it just kind of gives you that heads up of what to expect for the day. I found that very useful. I wish I had known about it beforehand, but after I did find it, it just made everything a lot easier. Now, as you do your own research, or you might decide to download one of the other apps, maybe they have features I don't know about. Maybe Camino Ninja has features I don't know about it, because I didn't really play around in it a lot. I just used it for what I needed, and that was fine for me. But we were really glad that we had it. So I would encourage you to at least download one just to find out what's going to work for you, because I think it'll be very helpful. It was for us as we walked our Camino. I hope that helps. Have fun downloading an app to see how it's going to work for you. We do a different video every day that we've been walking the Camino. So if you want to see our whole series, I will put a link to that whole entire playlist right over here.
Today and not tomorrow.